My name is Thibaut. I am French. I have been living in Singapore for 14 years now with my family. For some of you to know, and since we have a sign language interpreter here with Irene, I am also hearing impaired myself. I am 50% deaf on both ears. I have my little batteries here for my hearing aid in case I run out of juice. And I will try to speak as slow as possible for everyone to be comfortable with the presentation. As Tuting mentioned, feel free to use the chat if you have any question, and there will be either myself or some other people that will be able to answer them. And we will do a Q&A session specific around LinkedIn just after my session. What we will cover in this workshop, in the first part that I will cover, I will first chat around what is LinkedIn. Then, how do we build a strong LinkedIn profile? We will then go into how do we build, relationships? How do we build connections on LinkedIn? And then I will share, tips around using your network to connecting to opportunities and finding jobs on LinkedIn. Let's get started. Oops, sorry for that. That's me. 1 second. So let's start with a little image here. Kaya toast is my favorite food in Singapore. That's something that I really love, the Kaya breakfast with soft-boiled egg and coffee. On Facebook, you would typically say, I like Kaya toast. I seem that I have a little bit of an issue. One second, I will control it. Tuting, it's okay. Yes. On WhatsApp, you may say, anyone wants a Kaya toast? On Instagram, you say, here is a cool photo of my Kaya toast. On Pinterest, it may be, here is a Kaya toast recipe. On Spotify, if some of you guys are using it, it's, I am listening to a song named Kaya toast. And if some of you use TikTok, you could say, watch me dance with a Kaya toast. Now, what do we do on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a little bit different. I am again losing my control. Sorry for that. I have a bit of an issue on my side. On LinkedIn, it's a little bit of a different mindset, right? I hope to operate a Kaya toast franchise one day. One second. I do have an issue to pass the slide, so maybe Tuting, you will help me there. It seems there is a small glitch here. Great. So on LinkedIn, it's all about a professional mindset, right? I am looking for a job at a Kaya toast company. I have maybe 3 years experience making Kaya toast. My top skills are Kaya toast production, sales, and so on and so forth. You get the message. LinkedIn is all about a professional mindset, which is different again from other social media platforms that you may be using as well. Moving on to the next slide, please, Tuting. Thank you. So we will start with how do we build a LinkedIn profile? Next slide, Tuting, please. So first, obviously, especially for those who do not have a LinkedIn account, right, you need to log in on linkedin.com, right, to set up your account. You can also download the app on your mobile phone. It's easier as well to update some of the parameters. Next slide. A profile on LinkedIn is slightly different than a resume, right? A profile is speaking to all the employers at once, right? And you can go in more details. You can go in more details about your experience, your projects. You can have recommendations. You can also interact with, your connections and potential employers, right? So it's almost like a living resume that you have on LinkedIn. Next slide, please. First, and here we have a beautiful photo of Puden from Halogen. You have to take a nice profile picture. What I mean by that, it's probably like a picture where you look, presentable and professional, right? It's not a picture where you are on the beach. It's not a picture maybe where you have a cocktail in your hand. is a picture that, that look professional. It can be a selfie. It can be someone taking a picture of you with the phone. You can take it easy, but a picture that look professional. The second piece for a strong LinkedIn profile is obviously to edit your profile and all the sections that are in a LinkedIn profile. You can add your location, your work experience, volunteer experience, education, skills, and so on and so forth. You have like sections for each of these parts that you can update. We will go in some of them a bit more into detail. All of them are accessible by clicking on the Me icon on the very top. Regarding your headline, headline is the line that shows just under your name on LinkedIn. The headline is a part that you can customize. You can customize and you can change. And, for example, here, I see that some of them have put curriculum designer, facilitator, head of client strategy. You can also be creative with that single line about what you're looking for and what is the value that you want to show to clients or employers. An important section of the LinkedIn profile is what we call the summary. The summary, or the about section, is an area where you can share about who you are. What are your experiences? It's almost like a mini cover letter on top of your LinkedIn profile that I invite all of you to take a few minutes to write, after this session and think about it, right? Who you are, what's your experience, and what are you looking for? What are your goals, right? So people in a quick snapshot, they can have an idea of who you are and what you're looking for. Let's move on now to the part about building professional network. I have seen in the questions that some of you are, asking questions on how do we build this network? What if I don't have a wide network today? And I will share some tips around widening this network for each of you. It's important to remember that more than 50% of people that are hired, it is via a personal connection or a referral. This is very important to remember, right? It does not mean that you need to know everyone. It just highlights the power of the network, the power of connecting with people that you know, people that may be of help for you. And LinkedIn is a platform that can help you to enable this. Here is how the network on LinkedIn works. First, you have what we call the first degree connections on LinkedIn. These are the people that you are connected to, right? These are your immediate connections, right? And you see the green lines here. These are the people that you're immediately connected to on LinkedIn. These people are also connected to other folks. And this is your second degree connection. Second degree connection is not your own network, but it is your network's network. And these are people that you can potentially reach via your own connections. And if we go beyond this, you can also enable your third degree network, right? Which are people, the connection of your second degree network. In a nutshell, it's a little bit complex. In a nutshell, this is showing you the power of the network. The more connections you build on LinkedIn, the more access you will have to potential employers, potential clients, and so on and so forth. Now, on LinkedIn, when you identify someone that you want to connect with, you can personalize the message on LinkedIn. You can add a little note, and I will go a little bit into these details a little later. This is very important, right? Especially if you're reaching out to someone you don't know. And you can say, for example, hey, I found you, I'm reading here, I found your profile through a mutual connection. I'm exploring a career path. I would love to join your network and connect, right? This is a simple way to expand your network beyond the people that you necessarily know. There is another quick tip to discover additional connections. If you click on My Network on top of your, of your LinkedIn profile on your desktop, you will be able to see a lot of suggestions of people that you can add in your network. I would encourage you to add all your friends, your family. If you have current colleagues, former colleagues, managers, add all these people on LinkedIn. Chances are they will be on LinkedIn. In Singapore, the penetration of LinkedIn is very high. So there's a lot of chance that you will find these people. So start connecting with all the people that you know, and then you can expand beyond these people. You can also search for connections based on various criteria. It can be name, obviously, you can search by name, but you can also search for specific companies. You can spell, obviously for Singapore, maybe Singapore-based people. You can search with keyword. And this can enable you to build some lists of people that could potentially be interesting for you to connect with. As I said before, after clicking connect, you can always personalize the invite. Highly recommend you to do so, especially if you don't know the person well, or if you don't know the person at all. Please do customize your request so that the person understands why you want to connect with them. As I mentioned, right? So connect with the people that you know, the people that you have something in common with. Maybe you have done the same, IT or diploma or degree. Maybe, they are working in a company that you are interested in, but do customize the introduction by stating who you are and why you want to connect with this person. Now, we will go a bit more into the details on how to connect, I would say, with opportunities, right? How do we find, new opportunity, new jobs opportunities? Next slide, please, Yuting. Once again, right, I mentioned at the start, right, 50% of the people are landing a job via someone that they know. And for you also to know, you are 3 times more chances to get hired when you are referred. So what is a referral? Sometimes people don't really know what is a referral. I will use an example. If I want to work at DBS in Singapore, and I found a job that is interesting for me on their website or on LinkedIn, I want to find someone that works at DBS. I will try to find anyone that works at DBS, and I will connect with this person on LinkedIn, and I will ask this person, can you refer me for this job? Usually there is always a referral program, and the person that refers me may get a bonus if I am successfully hired. But more importantly, you will be on top of the list for the recruiters, right? You will be referred by someone internal in the company. So I highly recommend you to look at referrals and to be referred by people in the companies you want to work with. Let's move to a small video about someone that actually has used LinkedIn to find his way to a new job.
I told my dad I wanted to leave consulting. On top of that, leave Atlanta for San Francisco. I had a total of 6 months to get a job. So I knew if I didn't come out here on the grind, I was not going to get a job. I would wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. I sent out probably 25 emails a day on LinkedIn to schedule coffee with people I thought were interesting. Probably had 6 to 7 meetings for about 2 months. 7 cups of coffee a day is far too much caffeine for anybody. When I went to these coffee meetings, I never once asked for a job. I strictly said, do you mind just sprinkling tidbits of knowledge for me? During that time, a lot of the rejection I faced was I would go to these meetings and these people wouldn't even show up. Rejection's inevitable, but all it takes is one.
this guy knew what he wanted to do, and took that step.
About a week later, he gave me a call and said, "Hey, I have a contracting role. Would you be interested in it?" So I did that for a bit. Eventually that evolved. He's like, "Hey, Rahul, let's go out for a walk and talk." And I was like, "Oh man, he's about to fire me." During that walk, he said, "We'd like to offer you full time." I was like, "This is awesome."
And now that he's kind of my right-hand man, it's been an amazing journey.
LinkedIn facilitated a lot of the connections I made and the connections I would not have ever made had I not had a tool like that.
Hopefully this little video can inspire you, about someone that has used LinkedIn heavily to find the job of his dreams. In Singapore, the good thing is that, again, a lot of people are on LinkedIn, a lot of jobs are present on LinkedIn, but this is definitely an avenue that I encourage all of you to use. Now, when you message connection, as we said, you can send direct messages, as we mentioned, on LinkedIn, right, via the the messaging, I would say, inbox, via their connection, or directly from the profile of the person. You can click on message. That's the easiest way to reach out. Now, how do we do to ask for formal interviews or formal discussions, right? There's a few ways to go about it. Right? So once you have identified someone that is of interest for you, right? Maybe in a company that is interesting for you, or that they are hiring some positions that are interesting, you can send them a note, right? So either via the connection, you can customize the note when you connect with them, or you can use what we call an in-mail, which is a way to reach directly to anyone on LinkedIn. And the best advice here is to just ask for a chat around your own career journey. Do not ask for a job immediately. This is a mistake that I see too often. I just request for a chat around, you are at a tipping point of your career, you are exploring new areas, you would love to discuss for 15, 20 minutes with this person because of this or that reason. Make it very easy for them to say yes. People are very keen to help, right? They may not have a job for you immediately, but they may find other ways to help you, right? Maybe they heard about another job somewhere else, or maybe they will be able to introduce you somewhere, right? So again, this is all about expanding your network, one connection after another. You can also, as we discussed before, request referrals, right? This is a bit more specific, right? When you have found a company that is hiring a job that you're interested in, you can message someone. Maybe you have a connection within this company, or you will find someone within this company and ask them. I say, I have seen that your company is hiring for this role. I am very interested in applying. Would you be willing to share some information and maybe refer me for this job? This is a very common way of, getting jobs today. I also invite you to get recommendations on LinkedIn. There is an area at the bottom of the profile where you can ask people that have worked with you, or maybe your teachers, to write a recommendation for you on LinkedIn. This is very powerful, and this is looked at by every recruiter. Do look at what are you recommended for, right? So again, it's typically a recommendation is from someone that you know well, that has worked closely with you, maybe either at your, at your IT, or at the school, at the uni, or at your job, a previous job. I want to emphasize the fact that building your network does not happen overnight. It is not because of this session today that you will have a strong network tomorrow, right? It's built over time. And the way we build our network over time is to invest and engage and add value to these people. How do we do that, right? Obviously, we can, as we say, exchange messages to request for their time, right? And ask for advice. You can also share on LinkedIn and like posts, and your name will be more and more visible to your network and beyond. You can also obviously join groups and give, recommendations to others or ask for recommendation. Again, this is a living and a day-to-day thing that I invite all of you to think of. This is my last part before we move to the Q&A. It's about, searching and applying for jobs on LinkedIn. Next slide, please, Juting. This is an interesting statistics, right? This is a global figure, but 34 million people have found, find a job on LinkedIn every week. So the first thing that I invite you to do, when you click on jobs on your LinkedIn profile, or either on your desktop or on your mobile, you can indicate to recruiters that you are you are currently looking for a job. There's a little toggle here that you need to activate, meaning that you will be more visible for the recruiters. Exactly. Thank you, Juting. This is a little toggle here that I invite all of you, if you are looking for an opportunity, do activate this little button, open for jobs, and it will be, this button is only visible by all the recruiters on the platform, not by your colleagues or your connections. You can also put your career interest, right? And this is what is coming next. And I also invite you, if you want to be more visible, you can also add a circle around your profile picture that says open to work, right? You are openly looking for a job and you want to share with your network that you are open for new opportunities, right? We will share with you the slide afterwards so you can look where to do that, but it's basically from your LinkedIn profile picture. Now, when we search for jobs, there's multiple ways that you can do searches and filter. You can obviously, there's a lot of, you can search by the keyword, by job title, by companies, by location, function. There's a lot of criteria that you can add in order for you to build a list of jobs that could potentially be interesting. Once you find, a few jobs, you can save them, each of them, so that you are kept up to date about, what is happening with these jobs. And more importantly, you will find different ways for you to reach out. I highly recommend you, and this is something that I have done as well, to create what we call search alerts, job alerts, meaning that maybe I am looking for, I don't know, a job in marketing in Singapore with a couple of years experience. I can put these filters, these criteria, and build a search. I can save this search, and on a daily or weekly basis, I will receive all the new jobs that are posted and that are matching this criteria. This is a very good way to stay on top of the job that could be interesting for you guys. Obviously, you can review, the job that you may be interested in. There's a lot of jobs that with the algorithm on LinkedIn will push you a lot of jobs that would potentially be of interest for you. Do scan them, right? You can check really the work experience, the skills required, the location for you to make the list of the job that you could be interested in. Next step is obviously for you to apply. Okay, follow company. So I'll go a bit into that. Follow company, you can follow companies, right? The companies you're interested in, I highly recommend you to follow them on LinkedIn. They have a page, same as you have a page as an individual. The companies also have a page as, a company page that you can follow and stay updated about their jobs, about the news in this company. Last but not least, obviously apply, right? So once you find jobs that are interested for you, apply, on LinkedIn. There is a lot of ways. It's a fairly straightforward process. Do remember though, the best way, once again, to land a job is to be referred by someone that you know, or to be introduced by someone that you know. People trust people from their own companies. People trust people that they know, right? We are all human, right? So think about that. And I would actually encourage you, before you apply on a job, if you really want this job, before you apply, find people in this company to refer you. Right? Find people on LinkedIn for you to be referred and maximize your chances of getting a referral and of getting the job. This is my last slide. And these are just, I want to spend like 2-3 minutes on this slide because this is very important. Please save this link and have a look at this link, opportunity.linkedin.com. There is a lot of great resources for any job seeker out here. Number one, you have a lot of free courses that you can access around, interview skills, around, getting a job, around, opening your network. These are LinkedIn learning courses that are available for free for everyone on LinkedIn. The second piece is really around, mastering some critical skills. And last piece, on the right-hand side of this slide, there is a whole area around preparing for interviews and practicing interviews. Right? This is a relatively new development for LinkedIn. This is fresh from the oven. Have a look. There is a lot of tips and tricks, and you can even practice and get feedback on your interview skills. So that's opportunity.linkedin.com. I am just conscious of time. I can quickly go breeze through this piece, or I can take questions. Maybe you think you want to enable the chat questions to keep them flowing. And
yes, I've activated the chat box. So participants, welcome you to post your questions on the chat box. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, while we wait for the first few questions, you can also explore, as this slide mentioned, you can also explore schools, and you can also browse your alumni. If you have, for example, graduated from an ITE in Singapore, you will be able to see the page for your school and see whoever has graduated from this school that are present on LinkedIn. These are potential people that you can easily connect with, right? They are your schoolmates. Even if it's not the same batch, do reach out to them, especially if they have jobs that, that are interesting for you, that are inspiring for you. Do request for their help, their guidance, their coaching. Exploring schools, again, right? So here we have an example, Singapore University of Social Science. You can browse the alumni if you go to the next slide, shooting. You can browse the Alumni Network. It is very powerful to understand, where do they live, obviously, which countries, where do they work today, where did they study? And you can browse like all these names and potentially connect to people that are interesting for you. You can also join groups on LinkedIn. There are many different groups that you can join based on your interest and what you're passionate about. My recommendation as well on LinkedIn, we didn't cover this today, but is to be active on the platform, to start liking, sharing, or commenting. This will make you more visible for potential employers here. Last slide, you can adjust. There is a lot of ways to adjust your privacy settings on LinkedIn. What do you want people to see when they go on your profile? You have a lot of ways that you can adjust. I will not go into the detail, but you can click on the Me and then Setting and Privacy to exactly adjust the way you're comfortable. I would personally encourage you to be as visible as possible, to have your pictures visible for anyone, to have your current job or your current status as visible to everyone, so that you maximize your chances of being seen and being visible here.